Hello, if you're watching this, it's because you're a member of the channel, so thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. The added benefits of being a channel member are that you'll be able to watch the long format videos a couple of weeks earlier. I'm going to answer all your comments and questions in the comment section, and I'll also keep you more in mind for the future videos I make. If you're seeing this and aren't a channel member, it's because a few weeks have passed, but you'll still get this information. Is because I want everyone to have the necessary information to take care of their pets. That's the mission of my channel after all. So if you'd like to join, you're more than welcome. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. And if you can't pay or just don't want to, that's okay. Just by watching this video, you're already doing me a big favor. Thank you very much, and let's start with the video. Today we're going to talk about Australian tree frogs, also known as White's tree frogs. Why in English? Well, it's because these frogs are from Australia, and the person who first described them was known as John White, a naturalist who, of course, was from Australia, spoke English, and that's why the common name is in English. Always identify animals by their scientific names, which I'll show here with a picture. And as always, yes, it can become your pet. Before we start, remember to get captive-bred specimens and check the legal requirements in your country. This is for the preservation of the species, to avoid disturbing the wild habitats they come from, to fight illegal trafficking, and to provide work for honest people who are dedicated to breeding them. Knowing all this, let's start with the terrarium. Enclosure. As the name suggests, these are arboreal, meaning they live in trees. They like to climb, so we need an enclosure that prioritizes height, although width is always very important too. Here I'll be showing you the enclosure's measurements. This is for 1 to 4 specimens. They live together very, very well, especially if they're raised together from a young age. But if there's only one frog, nothing will happen to it either. It's not like they're very social animals, so to speak. So keep that in mind to know if one is male or female. It's actually very simple. Males are much smaller than females. Females are about 25% larger than males on average, reaching up to 5 inches, which is about 12.5 centimeters, while males will measure around 10 centimeters on average. But yes, if it's the bigger one, it's female. If it's smaller, it's male. Here I'm going to show you some examples of enclosures. But it's actually very simple. We'll start with a substrate that retains moisture, such as pesticide-free coconut fiber. And on top of that substrate, I would like to put something like dried sphagnum moss. And I would also like to mix a bit of activated charcoal into that substrate to prevent mold growth. It's also a good idea to provide springtails and isopods to help you a bit with the cleaning. Of course, we're going to need vegetation. It can be fake, it can be real. I will always recommend something natural. I mean something real. And also, a shallow bowl with water that's fairly large. And of course, the water should be treated or bottled. We don't want anything with chlorine because they're amphibians and they absorb everything through their skin. Temperature and humidity. I'll leave it here for you. 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit. I converted it to Celsius too, because I know you're lazy and always complain in the comments that I use Fahrenheit. My apologies. And at night, the temperature can drop quite a bit, down to 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which is basically this. As always, it's very important to know the exact temperature in your enclosure. That's why I always recommend buying a digital thermometer and hygrometer to know the temperature and relative humidity of the enclosure. What? Speaking of humidity, this should be between 50 and 70%, while 75 is still. Okay, remember, we want a fairly high relative humidity, however. Not too high because there could be bacterial growth, and then your animal could get sick and die. So you also have to be careful and always use our digital hygrometer. Actually, the range of temperature and humidity is quite broad. That's why this type of frog is recommended for beginners. Well, Pac-Man frogs are better for beginners. But that thing literally just stays in a corner all day waiting for something to happen so it can eat. These have a bit more personality. They're arboreal, they're a bit more active, and each one has a different personality. So I highly recommend them for beginners. However, always remember to do your research and, as always, get captive-bred specimens. By the way, something very important that I didn't mention about these frogs is that they can live 10, 15, even 20 years for some lucky individuals. So keep that in mind. It's quite a long commitment. It's not an impulse buy. If you ever decide you don't want these frogs, you can give them to me. But that's not the point. We need to be responsible and understand what we're committing to. And finally, let's talk about diet. Insects raised in captivity. It's, it's that simple. Don't go to your garden and grab beetles or ants, whatever. Everything should be raised in captivity, please. And of course, keep in mind the size of your specimen. If your frog is 1 inch long, you're obviously not going to give it an adult cricket. You're going to give it pinhead crickets, among other things. And of course, don't just stick to crickets. You can also give it superworms, dubias, Madagascar hissing cockroaches. You can give, what are those green worms called? Well, I don't know, but please give a variety of arthropods. And from time to time, dust them with vitamins and calcium. And that would be all, I think. By the way, I recommend feeding with tongs. Please don't hand feed them. And well, before finishing the video, I just wanted to tell you that before buying any animal, not just this frog, first, do a lot of research. Second, take into account the expenses and your time. And also, before getting any specimen, remember to buy the enclosure first. Set it up, add decorations, substrate, water bowl, plants, hygrometer, digital thermometer, and everything. So that when our specimen arrives, you can simply release it and it will be free of stress. And that would be all. As I always say, remember to follow me and love nature. Remember to subscribe, join the channel, and well, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart again. I'll see you in a few days. Goodbye.